Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today I have a very special guest, and we are going to discuss everything to do with STEM. And joining me is Felix Malombe. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Felix Malombe indeed.
Yeah, tell us what you do. Maybe you can introduce yourself. I can see you have so many things going on. Being an educationist, also in STEM. I've seen STEAM applicant, also an international keynote speaker. So maybe just a quick introduction of who you are and what you engage yourself in.
Uh, where I come from, it's very hard to. They say sometimes it's very hard to explain or to really give detail about a person because sometimes what is written about a person might be too much. But basically, my name is Felix Malombe. I am a teacher for teaching mathematics and computer science.
Mhm.
But originally, I have a background in computer engineering. I did my bachelor's in computer engineering as my first degree, and
Mhm.
thereafter trained as a teacher with PGD, which is postgraduate diploma in education. And the other things have followed after that because in the education space, it's very easy to grow if you are willing to do so, and especially because you are also carrying the grace of serving young people where God is.
Ah, okay. That is interesting. Interesting. Now, why so much interest and why did you get into this STEM? And maybe for those who don't know what STEM is, you can tell us what is STEM and why did you get into that line?
So basically, first of all, I like to confirm that it is it is not just, it's about innovation. It's about raising the next generation of innovators.
Mm-hmm.
And what brought me to this space is my own personal story because I grew up in the uplands of Kitui County, and then
Mm-hmm.
from there I that is now in Kitui Central, and then I did my computer engineering course at Kenyatta University, and I
Mm-hmm.
looked at the way I was being taught. I didn't like it, especially in the area of computer programming, engineering, and those hardcore activities, including welding, digital electronics, and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
what was a challenge for me was the programming space where we were given opportunities to learn to code, but we were not in a lab. We were in a whiteboard, a class with a whiteboard where we were supported by the teachers, where they would write the code on the board, and then we were to copy it. And then later on, if you have an access to a computer, you'll go to the computer lab and you'll be able to do that code. If it doesn't work, if the comma was missing or the semicolon was missing, you'll have a hard time. And I was lazy those days, so I never made sense of what we were doing. And later on, I realized I have a space where I need to actually go out there and make a difference in the community. After I graduated, I worked for KPMG for some while
Mm-hmm.
as an IT specialist. But then I realized my heart was with young people, so I went ahead to volunteer in a school where finally got my second job, I would say, as a technology integrator. It is
Okay.
during this time, or as a technology integrator, that I realized I'm actually supposed to be teaching. And what was I supposed to teach? Because I was not a qualified teacher. I was geared towards supporting teachers with what it is that we call, um, computing in that space. And some people call it digital literacy, others ICT, others computer science, but it is computing. And
Oh,
it's from there now I realized there is a gap, and the gap is within the STEM education. People talk about STEM as if STEM is science, but it's not science. It's actually science, technology, English, not English. Sometimes people tell me English, that's why. And my students say that engineering and mathematics.
yeah.
And so I went in to study about that. I did some research and find some details. And what I found out is that a lot has gone into research about the same. And the focus has always been on science, as if scientists are the only innovative people. So I
Mm-hmm.
started finding out what is it that I can do different. And in my research, I found out about STEAM education, which tries to contextualize STEM education. Oh, wait, let me say this again. It tries to contextualize STEM education, contextualizes STEM education. So STEM is basically scientific and technology stuff plus
Mm-hmm.
engineering, which are background in. But now STEAM is about putting innovation in the hands of the people who are in this in that space. And so generally what will be happening is that a teacher who is a scientist can now bring in competencies or skills in a local context. So now you bring in humanities because you need to understand how people work. You bring in arts because you need to bring in design. You need to bring in language because you need to communicate your ideas. And that's how it becomes a STEAM. And that's why today I say I'm a STEAM educator running STEAM Labs
So
Africa.
the extra A is what? Because STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But now STEAM has an A.
Letter A stands for arts. It's not art,
Oh, arts,
arts,
arts.
arts with S at the end because it
So,
incorporates humanities,
uh-huh,
languages, even a
uh-huh,
footballer, even a DJ could
uh-huh.
become a STEAMist if there is such a thing. You just become innovative and solve problems with what you know.
Okay, okay. And let me, you can tell me, how is it different? I know there's some noise from where I am,
No, no worries.
some construction, I think, going on. How is it different teaching and learning STEAM or STEM, maybe from other subjects?
Well, I will say this. When you're learning about STEM or STEAM, you're trying to develop competencies or skills. It's what the CBC people call, or the CBC curriculum focuses on, the competencies. You develop competencies, but these competencies are not just skills that you have. You try to contextualize them. You bring them in the, like in the real world. And that's why when you're talking about STEM, you might talk about acquisition of certain scientific and technological skills. But then when you go to the STEAM, you try to bring in those skills for testing in the local context without without having to wait until the end of schooling time to see if the problem works. At the moment, I just finished a program called Rusinga Hackathon. It's a virtual hackathon, a competition for young programmers. And they were using the STEAM aspect because they are learning programming, coding, and all these things that you hear about nowadays. But then they are
Okay,
able to practice that in the world of they are in today, trying to solve the problems that are happening at the moment. So STEM or STEAM education now brings in problem solving in the real context, whether you're talking about sustainable development goals, whether we are talking about the Big Four agenda, whatever
okay.
it is, or Vision 2030.
Ah, that is quite interesting. That is very interesting. So, why would you encourage someone to get into STEM or STEAM? What are some of the opportunities that are there for our young people, maybe in school, or someone who is already graduating but they want to get into this space? What are some of the opportunities there?
Okay, let me say this. At this moment, I can say this with authority because I've been in this space for a while, not with confidence, or the confidence, but I can say this. The opportunity was missed. If someone is looking to go into a space in STEM, already they have missed an opportunity. And I appeal to the government agencies and everyone else to start the STEAM education, project-based education, problem-based education at the ages we call for 14 window, the ages between 4 and 14 years. What you can do after 14 years is acceleration or a crash course. And so anybody who is going to university today to do computer science, they are already late because they never got the good background to pick up that subject, or engineering. If we could have started earlier, by the time they go to university, and there is research that has shown that anybody who had those skills between ages 4 and 15 years, by the time to go to high school or even to university, they are they have a competitive edge among their peers. And so if someone is going to do something at this moment to go and do a course in STEM area, or the STEM areas as we call them, whether it is health sciences, anything to do with engineering, right now, they need to know that there are things they actually need to do outside the university. So if you're going to go and do maybe computer science, let me use computer science, or engineering course, or health sciences, you need those additive courses that you need to do so that you can build your capacity and contextualize your knowledge. Otherwise, it will be just knowledge that you build in, pass the exams, and it has no place in the day. When you go to the corporate, you realize you're going to start again another class. And so it is important that as you learn in university, as you learn in the field, like you engage in other areas. Like now you hear people talking about Moringa School, Jenga School, and such things. They are helping universities to contextualize STEM education.
Oh, I really like that. And just to give you some background, I am also a self-taught computer programmer, yeah, whereby I have learned by myself, of course, not through school, but I can be able to do a bit of programming, and which is more hands-on based on the projects that I'm working on. And I know you have mentioned like maybe it might be late, you might have missed a window. Does that mean that now anyone maybe in the university taking a science related course, engineering, it's too late to still get the opportunities in this STEM, uh, can we call it STEM industry, or the field?
It is what it is. Let me tell you, I am
Yes.
one of those people who miss the opportunity. So clearly, you are one of the people who miss the opportunity. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying you need to do a crash course.
Ah,
A
okay.
crash course will still land you in the right place because you have ambition, you have desires, you have interest in this space. But
Yeah.
it would have been better if it started at class 4, 5, 6. That is where everything happens. And I see the CBC is trying to do something closely related to that. But it is not enough. We have enough time to raise our generation. For people like you and I, and those who are in the tech space, we need to do more. Yeah, we need to go out there and shine. We need to go out there and do as much as we can to develop, or I mean, like to make a difference in the world that we are in. We're going to do certain courses that are going to accelerate our work so that we can be effective in the world that we are in. And that way, we'll be able to support our work.
Sorry, I think I lost you there. My internet went blank a little bit, but we are back. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I was saying that
Yeah.
the aspect of, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I'm
Welcome
back.
back, Daniel. Sorry for
Oh, it's
that.
okay. It's
Yes,
okay.
yes, I
Some
was saying that.
network issues. Now we can continue. Yeah.
Yes, I was saying that we, at the moment where we are, you and I, a lot is going to be required for us to be able to make a difference in the world that we are in, and also
Mm-hmm.
realize the aspect. I mean, like the goal of us being able to become specialists in this area. But
Yes.
people can. Okay, I don't. There is some echo.
Oh, you can hear some echo. Now we are
All
good.
right. Yes, yes. So I was saying that if we are going to make a difference at the moment, the people who are doing university, they are going to go an extra mile. And if we continue with the situation the way it is in university, where the teaching is done the way it is, or even in colleges, then we are going to have a gap still in the space that we are talking about, the STEM space. Yet, over 70% of the jobs that are coming out now require
Mm.
us to be to have some basic understanding of STEM skills. Whether you are working in customer facing or customer service industry, you need to have an understanding of how technology is influencing your work, whether it is in areas to do with health, even law. We have to say such things. There is a lot of interconnection between technology and the job that we have known over the years. And so
Okay.
anybody who is going to be coming into this space of STEM, they will need to really be moving at a very high speed so that they can actually keep pace with the world. Because other countries, people start early.
Thank you. So, from what I'm hearing you say, if you're already maybe past the 15, or maybe you are past 20, we still have an opportunity, but we need to do this crash course. But if it had started earlier, the better. So how do we encourage our children to join or to be more proactive, maybe in the STEM space? So for me, I have kids. Yes, my eldest son is turning 9 in a month's time. I can see he's within that window. My daughter is also turning 5, again, still that window. How would I encourage them to join this step?
It's very easy. First of all, the students who are in class in primary school already, the CBC system is already incorporating that aspect to prepare them. But it's
Mhm.
important this stage to say that not everyone is supposed to be in STEM. We just need to encourage more numbers. But some people are footballers. Let's give them that credit. Some people are DJs. Please don't bother them with a lot of coding and a lot of scientific. But we need, at this age where we introduce them to understanding of the world, where science is called understanding of the world, that is in primary school and high school. At that
Mhm.
time, when they are in the formative ages, the 414 window, that is where we can, do something to prepare for the next generation. But the people who are here, the people who are in high school now, who have already made a decision, will need to do an extra thing. They will need to, we will need to create opportunities for them to develop interest in this. Now, personally, so that I can answer that question, I came up with a solution. So I
Okay.
ran an accelerator for children in the K-12 space, that is primary and secondary schools. It's called the STEAM Labs Africa, where I'm the executive director. I have partners and people that I work with that will be able to will support the work that I do, so that I can increase the acquisition of problem solving skills, but also digital skills. So in that space, I expose children to computer science at an early age, and this is not coding, computer science, the thinking about computers, so that I can now introduce them to coding. From there, I expose them to entrepreneurship, um, such like the students can now come to me with my team, the people I've trained, and they can actually be taken through those programs as at an early age. And this is not something for profit. It's like something I do even for community children, in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Kilifi, and every other part of the country. That way, we're going to increase the numbers of the people who are willing. Sometimes we have had opportunities where university students and students who have cleared from 4 have come to us and said, please take me through this so that I don't lag behind, because I have an interest. That way we can raise the numbers. And there are many other people who are doing the same thing. So the place to go is STEAM Labs Africa, where you can actually go and get more information about accelerating the acquisition of STEM skills by igniting the young minds.
I really like that. Actually, I was to ask you what you do in STEM lab, and I think that has come out very clearly. How do people get in touch with you when they are interested? They would want to, maybe they found this conversation interesting. They find that maybe there's value, and they would want maybe to have their children or even plug in to support you in STEM or STEAM Lab Africa.
All right. So the way to do this, for STEAM Labs, or me to get to us, is first of all, of course, we refer you to our social media channels. We do have our website. In as much as we are rebranding, we are constantly, improving our resources. So at the moment we are rebranding, but still you can go to our STEAM Labs website and get access to our details. We will take the students through 5 or 6 key areas. One, when the child is signed up, they will go through digital storytelling. They will understand if they are media people or storytellers or whatever it is in this space, especially with TikTok and all these things. They'll go through our digital storytelling pathways, where we have animation and other things. Number two, they'll go through coding and computer science. Computer science and AI, we call it, which incorporates coding. There is a space for robotics and engineering, which is like physical computing. I can switch your camera off from here. That is called IoT, Internet of Things. And that way, we are able to equip our students with physical computing concepts. And then there is the place for business and entrepreneurship. It is this space that we train children about economic management sciences, like financial literacy. How do you spend this and that? And that is for children between 8 years to 18 years. And then finally, we talk about creative design. You must have heard about engineering where houses are being built through 3D printing. We do
Mm-hmm.
that. We train our children on that. We take them through 3D printing course. And then from there, they are able to go out there and implement the same courses. I mean, come up with their own projects, which can be pitched even for people who could be needing prosthetics, for their hands. And that's the way we are able to support, students. You can also go to our Twitter page. It's at STEAM Labs A, STEAM Labs A, or STEAM Labs A, depending on where you went to school.
Yeah.
Then there is also our Instagram is STEAM Labs A. And then our Facebook page is STEAM Labs Africa. We are currently running programs on digital citizenship and such like things. And of course, on LinkedIn, that's where we meet our partners. It's important to say also, when you come to us, we give you some courses at our cost, but also there are programs that we are training teachers for free to do that in their schools through
Mm-hmm.
Microbit Digital Future, Scratch Education, projects like Transform Education, which are ongoing. And that way we are able to support educators, to support the children, because we can't do this alone. STEAM Labs is just an accelerator supporting the work that is already being done by government and schools.
I'm really very happy that we had you here today. Quite a lot of valuable information that you have shared with us. And yes, we connected with you through LinkedIn, so that would be a good place. You can connect with Felix Malombe there, and also follow them on all those social media platforms. I'll try get all those links and also put them in the description of this video because I know some people will be watching this on replay. I am a very enthusiastic person when it comes to STEM. Yeah, as from my own background, yeah, from a science background. Actually, I did a bachelor's degree majored in physics, and then ended up also in education and computing, which is quite a great field, as you say. As we finish up, what would you say is your parting shot in terms of STEM education and the possibilities and the opportunities and what is out there for us in the future? As like what you will be your parting shot.
I'll say this. One, we have seen India rise from the top 100 countries in terms of economies to top 50 to top 10. And in the next 10 years, watch this space. India will be among the top 3, if not top 1, if there is such a thing. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because India has invested in education. I know in Kenya and in Africa, according to the miseducation of the Negro from the US, education does not motivate voters. Voters want now. They want the food for now. But food is with the students. If we want to fix the problem of unemployment in our country, then
Mhm.
we need to invest in education. And now, because STEM education is the next big thing, and I like to insist on that, then we need to invest in STEM education as early. Not a question where we are starting the STEM education at grade 7. We need to go down to grade 1. Let me say that again. By the way, I'm actually saying, can we teach computer science from grade 1? What I'm seeing the government doing in Kenya is introducing something we are calling coding platforms like Code Africa, like code.org. Those platforms are good and they are okay, but you cannot teach a child to walk when they are still when they have just been born. You need to take them through sitting down, crawling, they stand, then they walk. Because teaching coding without having taught the computer science concepts like networking, like computational thinking, it's a mistake. So if we can introduce computer science as a subject in grade 1, I know CBC is running, but if we can introduce computer science, and I'm talking about every other country of the world, Americans are doing that. Singaporeans are doing that. China, year 4 students and grade 4 students are creating apps. It is very simple. We are doing it. I teach also at Crawford International School. My students win for awards when they go for CIS competitions because I expose them as early. I'm saying, can we democratize this? It is time to bring STEM teaching to the lowest level. It's not just science experiments. It is not enough to do that. It is not cutting a box, and another, and connecting and saying that is a drone. Let's make the real drones. Let's program them and let's bring them in our schools. And that way we'll make a difference. Our country is on a flight. By the way, they say by 2063, Africa will be the leading continent. How will we do this if we are still talking about dioramas? Those are things are taught in primary schools, by the way. How are we doing that? We finish a program, we throw in the bin. We need to make an app that can be used for people to recycle. To, you know, that's what I look forward to. And I want to be part of that change. So you, Mr. Daniel, and others who are listening online, can we petition the Parliament of Kenya through the KICD and Ministry of Education to come up with a curriculum for computer science students as early as at now, from grade 1, and you thank me later when you see 100 years from now, Africa taking the leadership, not just prospecting, but the real thing happening. Not even 100 years, call it 40 years. Let's do this.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have you. Quite inspiring, and hope my viewers, you also got to learn something. And until our next session, when we are here live, we are out.
Thank you.